Hello, and welcome to the last in our series of Krita. We are going to be going over the basics of animation. So, here we've got Krita set up. I've made a simple ball animation. Ball animations are the easiest of animations to do to convey motion and squash and stretch and other things I'm sure your students will love. So, we can see down here we have our timeline. This is moving through the frames. We have the number of the frame we're on, the controls for the frame. We have the layers with their animations and layers right here. So you might be saying, my Krita doesn't look like that, and you'd be absolutely right. So I'm going to stop this and let's show you how to set up your Krita. So we are going to go to what we had before, and let's start brand new. Okay, so we're going to make a new document. We're going to call it Bouncing Ball. It's going to be 800 by 600. And create. Okay, so we have our bouncing ball animation, our new file, and there's a few things we have to do because we don't have any animation tools yet. Now, since we have a new file open, this box becomes active. If you don't have any files open, this box, you can't click it, but we're going to click it. And we're first going to save the setup we have. I called it Scott's drawing. And we can hit save, and then that'll come up right down there. Now they already have some presets, and these presets will give us a different way of looking at Krita. Big vector. Let's do animation. So animation is at the top. And there, pretty good. If you ever want to go back, now we can go to default, or my personal default that I made. Go to default, we're in drawing mode. Back into animation, and we're in animation mode. Okay, so it's looking pretty good. However, I want to see my brushes. So I'm going to bring back the brushes right here. You can go in and look under toolbars shown, Dockers. Here, let's bring up brush presets. And it's right there. If it shows up somewhere else, remember, we can always unlock it and move it around. So the preset, the brushes are all going to go there. We have our layers on this side, and I might want to bring up a color picker as well. Dockers. Do we have color sliders? It says we have color sliders where, oh. They put it right here. Well, I'm going to float color sliders. No? Okay, well, I guess it wins. But we know where to pick our colors. Okay. So, let's look at what's changed. Our layers have moved over here. we have an animation box which appeared. We have a timeline box that has appeared. And we have this cool tool called Onion Skins, which we will get to later, but that creates its own box. So I'm going to create a little bit more room for our timeline. Now, timeline is kind of weird. Layer 1 is always considered a background layer. So I'm just going to rename it background. I'm going to double click on it. Background. Layer 2, we're going to have a bouncing ball animation. So ball drawing. Like to be specific. And I'm gonna make it a blue ball drawing. You can change the color of layers, by the way. So if we want, we could make the ball drawing purple. Okay, so now we're ready to get started. Oh, almost. So when we have our timeline selected, we can move around, and I'm hitting my arrow keys to move left and right. Up and down, once I have more layers in here, can go up layer and down layer. We also need to configure one thing which will make life easier, and that is we want to make a hotkey for creating a new layer. So go configure Krita, and this will bring up a dialog, keyboard shortcuts, where we can have anything we want customized. So we've got new frame. Now mine has N because I already set it up, but if you don't, if yours is default, which is none, just hit custom, click where it says none, and now it says input. It's waiting for you. It'll say, yeah, actually, click the button, enter the shortcut you'd like in the program. And so I'm just going to say N. And now N, every time I hit N, it's going to give me a new frame. You can do this for any of these settings. Hit OK. So while I'm on ball drawing, I'm going to hit N. I don't know if you saw, but it created a frame right there. On the 0 key. Now these are pretty small frames, so I'm just going to expand this a little bit by clicking this button right here and just kind of get it set up so that I've got some big fat keys I'm working with. Just so I and you as well can see it easier. So we're on frame 1 and we're going to pick a brush. Let's pick, how about that? That works. It's a little bit thick. Let's do this guy. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to make its color black. So first, let's go to the background, and we're going to draw on the background. Actually, not the background itself. Sorry. I'm going to make a new layer, and we're going to call it layer 3 is going to be our example. Okay, so in our example layer, we are going to draw a line. Just a straight line. Doesn't have to be perfect. And we're going to draw a ball up top here. And what we're going to want it to do is we're going to want it to go down, bounce, and then come up. And when it bounces, it's just going to squash a little bit. It's going to be over here. So this is our animation. Make that ball a little bigger. There we go. So that's our animation. In between there, it's going to fall, and right at about at the halfway point, we're going to draw the ball again. Trying to keep it looking like the same ball. And the same ball. So here are our 5 frames of animation. So let's take the example layer and we're going to change the opacity. We're going to move it down so it's really faint. So this is just going to be a guide for us to draw on. So we don't really want to see it. I'm putting mine at about like 5%. Just so I can see it. Now we're going to go into ball drawing. And we're going to draw our ball. So, frame 0, there's our ball. I'm going to hit the over button and press the N, new. I'm going to draw on the next frame. I'm going to hit the over button, N for new, create a new frame. I'm going to draw it splatting like that. Splat. Over and N for new. And hitting the over button. And it's creating this trail of frames through our timeline. Each one of these rectangles is a frame. This is the beginning of time, and this is the end of time. So we're on frame 4. I'm going to hit N and move it to the end. And if we hit our over buttons, back and forth, we can see that an animation is happening. If we want in our under animation, we end at frame 5, so let's say end the motion at frame 5 and start it at frame 0. We'll press play. And now it'll just cycle between 1 and 5 and play our animation. So far, so good. Okay, so that is an animation. Congratulations, you've done it and it's that easy. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to, so these are what is called a keyframe because they're key to the motion. I'm going to put in 2 more frames that are really important to the motion. And to do that, I'm going to just move these frames a little bit. So you can click and drag on the frames. And now we have an empty frame in between each keyframe. Now with the empty frames, if that happens, by the way, you can lock that, and now I can't drag the timeline bar anymore. So let's go back to the beginning. We have our first frame. Our second frame is blank, but it still shows a ball. That's because it's going to keep showing whatever the last frame was until a new frame comes in to replace it, which is our second keyframe, which is now there. So we're going to go back And we're going to hit N. Actually, let's back up. This is a perfect time to talk about onion skin. So I'm going to hit undo a whole bunch. Okay, so we've got our ball bouncing. Just to redraw that ball. So we have our ball bouncing. Let's see what progress it's made. To do this, we go into onion skin. Now, onion skin shows us the past. Brings up this dialog. By default, it's red and green. I put it to blue. So default, it's green. We can change that to whatever color we like. I like just having kind of a cool blue color, so you've got cool and hot. And we're going to activate onion skin. It's kind of hard to see, but it's right here. This light bulb will show us onion skin. And that is showing us the previous frames that have happened in the past with red. Let's expand this dialog. See what it looks like. So if I put 0, it turns off onion skin. If I click on these numbers, can I make this bigger? I can make it bigger. Great. So if I want to see the previous frame, I'll hit -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. These bars show how transparent it will be. So for -1, if I want it to be really faded, well, we can see exactly what one frame behind is. -2, -3. So I have it drop off so that after like 5 frames, it's really pretty. Pretty subtle. There we go. So as we go through, we can see the onion skin of what has happened in the past. Now let's say we start at the beginning and we want to see what happens in the future. Well, we can turn on the future onion skins and it will have the same principle. So I'll turn that down, and as we go, move back and forward through time, we'll be able to see the future is in blue. I'll give it a bigger blue than that because that looks a little bit black. Future is in blue and the past is in red. Okay, so that's our onion skin, and I'm going to dock that right under layers. That way I can just see it and control it. Okay, so how do we use onion skin? Well, go back to adding our in-between frames. If I want to click and drag all of these over, I can hold Alt and drag. And it'll drag everything from that frame and frame's future forward in time. Alt, drag, there we go. Click, hold Alt, and drag. There we go. Okay, so now in this frame, when we hit new, we don't have anything. If we turned off onion skin, we'd see got a ball, no ball, ball. So in the area where there's no ball, it's completely blank. Let's turn on onion skin, and we're just going to draw a ball right in between them. And now we're going to go back to frame 3, which has nothing, hit new. We're going to draw a ball, but this ball is going to stretch. Hit over again, new. That ball is going to stretch. Try to keep the same volume if you can. New. And that ball is there. Okay, that was too small, but I liked its shape, so I just hit Control T, and I'm making it just a little bit bigger. Hit Enter. There we go. So now let's take a look at what we have. Put the endpoint at 9. And our ball is looking better already. Now, things accelerate as they pick up with gravity. So I want this area to look about the same as it has. But I want this area to be slower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Alt drag out open scenes. There we go. This one and this one I'm not, and this one I'm not. And then I'm going to go in here, and I'm just going to insert a few points where the ball starts to arc again. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 5 new frames to do. So let's turn on onion skin. New. Brush. B is for brush. I'm just going to draw a ball. Hit over and then over again. New frame. Draw a ball again. Over again. New. Oh, actually, I do want that to go over. In between here, there we go. That's going to be new, over, nothing. Ah, here's the space. New. Draw between the red and the blue. Over. Draw between the red and the blue. Over, new, draw between the red and the blue. All right, that one looks like I can stretch it a little bit more. There we go. Enter. Let's have a look. Last frame is frame 15, so we're going to tell it to loop to frame 15 and press play. Okay. Stop. Let's try to see what it's like with time. So that's how fast it's going to go, but it's dropping frames. I turned on drop frames. So my computer's working really hard, and when it does that, it's either going to go slower or it's going to drop frames. And this allows you to tell whether you have it drop frames so that you can see how fast it's going, or or not drop frames, keep everything, but go a little bit slower than it's supposed to. So that's with drop frames, and that's without drop frames. So the motion is good. Congratulations. This is our first animation. Now, we're going to do a little bit more with this. We are going to color it. So to do that, we need a new layer. And we're going to go back to the beginning, hit this plus bar, and say new layer. And this layer, I'm going to double click, I'm going to call it ball color. Okay, now we are just working with this layer. As you select layers, it shows you the animation for that layer. Now there is a way to show both at the same time, and we'll do that at the end. But right now we're just going to focus on ball color. Gonna hit N for new layer. Now let's just pick a brush that's big and fat that we can fill with color easy. Let's try this guy. Brush. Yeah, it's pretty easy to fill in color. Don't want to be black though. Let's make it kind of a blue ball. Yeah, that's nice. And let's make it a simpler brush. You can go under, and my computer's working a little bit slow, so I'm going to say quick brush. Quick brush. Let's test it out. Make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so we've got our quick brush. Whoa. So with our quick brush, we have it on the ball color layer. Go through, we're just going to paint it blue. We're going to hit over and new, blue. Over and new, blue. Actually, there's a bit of a faster way to do this. So that's good for when we have gaps like that. We're going to do over and new again, but this time I'm going to press the F key. Oh. Fill, but we've got to change the tools of fill. It says fill entire selection, limit to current layer, no. Uncheck that. And now fill should work right. There we go. Over and new, fill. Over, new, fill. Over, new, fill. And we're just going to keep doing that for every ball. Let's turn off onion skin. Oh, we have to turn off onion skin for the layer that's showing onion skin. By the way, that is right here. This little light bulb here, that is for onion skin. Oh. Apparently onion skin counts when it's drawing. So we're going to go back and fix that. Got a weird tennis ball texture. Didn't mean for that to happen. Just using my brush. Okay, let's put ball color below ball drawing. And we're going to hide example layer because we no longer need it. And let's just watch what we've made. Now we have a ball squashing, stretching, and bouncing. You can move around a little bit with the timing, but get the students just messing around with this and experimenting, and that should be about half the class.